Miracles occur, but God seems to use them sparingly. Even in Scripture, miracles are not God's standard operating procedure. Only during certain periods in biblical history were there clusterings of signs and wonders, during the Exodus, for example, during the ministries of Elisha and Elijah, during the life of Christ and the early days of the apostles. Throughout most of the Bible, God helped His people in ordinary providential ways rather than in overtly supernatural ones. The same is true today. That's why mature Christians pay special attention to the accidents, misfortunes, and coincidences that befall them. In reality, there are no such things, only the providential ordering of a God who watches over His prayerful, trusting children and whose unseen hand is guiding, guarding, arranging, and rearranging circumstances. Last year, our youth minister, Mike, and I were traveling in Sweden to teach at a Bible school. As we left Nashville, an airline agent looked at our tickets with concern. "There's a mistake here," she said. "I'll correct it, or you may have trouble getting back." After a few minutes at the computer, she handed us new tickets, smiled, and wished us a good trip. But when we tried to return home 2 weeks later, we were told that she had inadvertently canceled our westbound flights. Our names were nowhere on the computers and our tickets were worthless. After hours of negotiation and anxious waiting, we were finally squeezed onto an oversold flight and given the least desirable seats. As it happened, Mike was seated beside a Danish businessman who was open to hearing the gospel. For 6 long transatlantic hours, Mike quietly talked to him about his life and about the wonderful difference Jesus Christ could make. It wasn't an example of airline incompetence. It was an instance of divine providence. In the unfolding of God's providence, burdens become blessings. Tears lead to triumph, and the redemptive grace of God overcomes the undercurrents of life in the experiences of His children. For them, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called according to His purposes, as He promises us in Romans 8. No wonder Charles Spurgeon, the great preacher, once quipped, "We believe in the providence of God, but we do not believe half enough in it."
It is certain that we will face difficulties and that God will allow them. Moses and the Israelites found themselves caught between the devil and the deep Red Sea. So are we sometimes overwhelmed by life's problems. But God delivered the Israelites, and He will deliver us too.
I was facing some difficulties, opened up my Bible, found Exodus chapter 14, and saw some principles there about dealing with difficulties that I'd never seen before.
In the Red Sea Rules, author Robert J. Morgan offers 10 sound strategies for moving from fear to faith, revealing how even in the midst of seemingly impossible situations, God has promised to make a way for us.
The same Lord who led them in, led them out.
We would like to send you a copy of this book as a thank you for your ministry support. Please write to us, order online at crossroads.ca, or call 1-800-265-3100.